Hello and welcome back to RailRoads Online. So today we are replacing Betty that we retired, and we have chosen to do that with a Class 70 number 606, and we named it Big Betty in honor of our former Porter Type 2 Ant Inc. Railroad on the side, and we are taking it out on its first run down the track, letting it warm up now. See if we are building up any kind of pressure in the right places. Alright, we have heat. We are not going to have much by way of brakes currently, so until that builds up, we're not going to slam on the gas. See if we can edge that back into place. Why aren't you giving us? There we go. Sounded like it locked together. Right, air brakes are coming online. We did just go with the Class 70 because we figured that way, you know, any kind of normal expansion plans we would have, it can take care of that with no problem. Anything else we would need to throw at it, it's going to have that covered, and just ease of operations. The Class 70 really kind of is the Cadillac of trains on the game. Plenty of wood, plenty of water, plenty of power. It's not obnoxious in any way, shape, or form. It's extremely easy to use. And again, it's a great looking locomotive. So pretty hard to make an argument of going wrong with this one. So we just kind of conceded to the fact that it really is just the best operating train probably, and being that this is a wood utility route, we did not really want to, you know, we don't need extra challenges or pains thrown in. So easy peasy was kind of the line of thinking with the Class 70. Not sure it'll stay on this route. That may change as this train is pretty flexible to do different things with. But for now, we are gonna hook it on up and put it to some use. The Class 70s really are a decent locomotive. A little deeper sound. Oops. Wrong switch. Alright. Although we are going to have to back it up. Go pick up our rolling stock that I'm sure we can now pick up a couple more of without a problem. If we did this run before with the Cook Mogul adding the train cars, we shouldn't have a problem adding a couple more when it comes to the Class 70. Definitely has a large amount of power. Alright, so it looks like we are going to have one switch to get back there too. That one's right. This one is wrong. That should bring it back. Oh. Hello. Whoa. Alright, let me board. Oh, we're gonna need probably a link and a pin in the car. I'm not exactly sure what got link and a pin. Brakes. That thing is coming in pretty hot. Oh, we did not. There we go. Alright. Pinned on the roll. Oh, we did leave the regulator on. That's why it's pushing so hard. This train definitely has power. And a little bit goes a long way. So, no surprise there that it wasn't coming to a rest. Class 70 can definitely pull a few cars through their brakes with no problem. Alright, and now she will rumble to life for the first time for real. And steam right on through the yard, or the freight depot, if you will. We don't really have a yard. And then, let's see. How are we going to go about doing what we got to do? Right, because we brought the Type 2 out funky, that Heisler is still going to be sitting in our way when we come around trip with this thing. So we are going to have to move that out of the way. But I guess that's inevitable. It's going to have to move. We kind of parked it in a bad spot. So that's our own fault. We are not going to be turning this one around and bringing it back down the same rail. It'll be coming down, back down this one. So we will have to get the Class 70 out of the way, or the Heisler out of the way, excuse me, for the Class 70. Get some nice zoomed in shots of the working parts in motion on the Class 70. Again, beautiful modeling on this train. Just exquisite work. Let's all face it, as a model train fan, you know, looks are important. And I think for most cases with this game, they do a not only good looking job, but a pretty historically accurate job from most of what I have seen and heard. I mean, I'm definitely not like an old train aficionado. I have had a few things pointed out along the way of things that may not be exactly historically correct, or what, you know, they had missing here or there. At my level of knowledge, I would never notice such a thing. It's incredible that some people know these things detailed enough to actually notice. It's that's pretty cool. So we are just going to pick up, I believe it's lumber for out there. So this one is going to be a little bit of a load time. Not too bad, but these do take a little bit of time to load. Oh, come on. Give us a little bag up. Perfect. Decent brakes, decent go. You can't ask for a lot more out of a locomotive. Hopefully that'll get us both working. Yep, and yep, perfect. Alright. So I will get these loaded up, and I think we'll be right back with you. Alright, so that gets us all loaded up, and we are getting ready to head back out on the rails. I know I've been asked how come I skip out of the loading process most of the time, and I mean, well, sometimes, I mean, sure, people want to see the cranes working and stuff. I just honestly kind of write that off to most people. Probably aren't too interested in watching the cranes work over and over again. I mean, I could be totally wrong. If I am, feel free to leave it down in the comments below about wanting to see more of the loading process, and I will leave them in there. But I figure, you know, we kind of try to keep the videos to a little more short, watchable type of stuff. What are you doing? You don't need to slam on the brake anyway, and you weren't gonna make it, so that was really just a process of stacking up the loco hard for nothing. You know, I've gotten too used to in the habit of throwing the panic button every time I see a switch in the wrong direction, and it honestly doesn't mean you're going to derail, you know, like in this case you just go zooming out the other direction, no big deal. We do have one more track down yonder that we might as well run down and flip back. No point in stopping twice, so we will flip this one. Preemptively apologize if my dog goes nuts in the recording of this. People are mowing outside. He's not the biggest fan, but normally he's pretty chill about stuff, so we'll see if we can make it all the way through, or if we have to abort the attempt at filming this right now. But I'm sure he'll chill. He usually does. So, zooming on down. Good shot of the old sawmill there. Pine Valley Lumber Company. Who knew it was Pine Valley anyway? I didn't know that until I was standing in the water of that pond one day. And I'm not sure what this is. I just recently noticed this. It's like there was gonna be a door, because it doesn't match up with any other part of the building. Took me a while to notice that, but I did. This side doesn't have a door, so I don't know if there was going to be a garage door there or some sort of something. At one point, be interested to know, or if that's just intent by the modelers there. I'm not exactly sure. My guess is, you know, they don't have just a lot of stuff thrown in weird like for no reason, so there may be a reason behind that. I just don't know what it is. Just thought it was kind of funny because it looked like you know, somebody took an old garage door out or something. I mean, it's even got a header in there, so who knows what the intent was there. Kind of weird. So here we go. We cannot just straight mash the gas on this one as much as we'd like to, but this downhill dump to the left can cause a car derailment for sure. We haven't had one for a long time, but then that's because we just kind of let the train roll down it. We don't power up this curve very hard either, because it's probably beyond some regulation bend. It's a pretty sharp, get her done kind of bend, so we don't try to push anything too hard around there. Nice thing is we still don't have huge, crazy long wheelbases with even with the Class 70 being a 280. It doesn't have a hard time going around too many turns or anything. I think the Heisler is probably the tippiest locomotive in the game, or the hardest to get around sharp turns. It tends to want to rock. Haven't had that problem with the Class 70 at any point. It's a little bit more of a lowrider, and its weight, I think, is a little more even on the distribution. The Class 70 is super easy to run. I mean, it's pretty much, you can just peg it to the wall and let it go. Be interesting to see when the spline update comes out, what kind of top speed this thing really turns, and if that's still the case or not. As it picks up speed, you might have to be a little more careful with it. But for now, it is just kind of a set it, forget it, and go. No rear-facing lights on the Class 70. You can hang lights on the back of the tender, back here at these 2 points. So, you know, if nighttime operations become a thing at some point, and seeing to back it up is a problem, you do have the option to hang lights back there. I don't generally tend to do it. I've heard, I haven't had a problem with it myself, but I've heard that running the lights on the locomotives and things like that can hurt your frame rates. So I don't mess around with the lights too much. Like, I've turned them all on, obviously, but I turn them back all off too, and don't really run with anything on. No point in not taking advantage of the 24 hours of light that we get in Pine Valley. Well, we can get it. One assumes one day that will not be the case. We will have day-night operations. So, you know, running a locomotive at night can definitely, I'm sure, be an interesting thing when you're in a map without a lot of lights. And I'm sure the oil refinery with the big burn stacks is going to look really cool when we do get around to getting the nighttime cycle. I did catch a recent video about some information with the update coming out, so for anybody that's got questions about the spline and or track update, next featured update for RailRoads Online, you can definitely check out Heiss's video on that. He did a Q&A recently to kind of update us. Unfortunately, it's not out yet, but you know, things happen. And everybody gets delayed from time to time. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Some good news, briefly, not because I'm not going to run down his video or anything for anybody, but it looks like we'll at least be keeping our rolling stock that we do have in the game. It will, and our locomotives from the sound of it, that will all convert over to new models for the new update. So, well, there may be some slight appearance changes in things. It sounds like we will be keeping the things that we earned or have worked to get along the way. So that's kind of a de-stressor for, you know, those people who have invested a lot of time and don't necessarily want to do everything twice. So there was some good information there, or stress relief for some. I guess I was kind of the opinion, as long as we kept our money and didn't have to start from square one thing or another, it wouldn't be all that bad. So the idea that we get to probably hang on to most of, if not all of our locomotives in rolling stock is pretty nice. Though it will leave us back with we're going to have a lot of locomotives, at least in our case on this track, this train, loadout, whatever you want to call it. We will end up with a fair amount of locomotives because we do already have multiples of most, but we have retired a few now, so not a big deal. And it's always nice to have new locomotives to run. As good looking as all these are, I would not complain to have 10 more options to choose from. Also sounded like we'll be getting some track options by way of not just sticking to 3-foot narrow gauge, so that could be, some pretty interesting adjustments there. Sounds like we'll be getting away from just the American 3-foot gauge up until this point. Pretty much everything in the game, and kind of the original idea or design from what Heiss had said earlier was really that this game was about featuring the 3-foot American narrow gauge, because it's been just underrepresented basically in so many games. So it's great that that's the main focus of the game. Also, I think a great option that they're going to add in some full-size trains and trains from around the world. I know just from fans of the channel, we have viewers from all over the world, so the game's definitely popular in more places than just the American market, that's for sure. So it's good to see them expanding on that. I don't think we can have too many options in the game. Most people aren't going to complain, and some people will probably take this crazy, but the British rail and stuff, those locomotives have always been probably a little better looking than American trains. Not to incite a riot or anything, but most of our trains are pretty much black on top of black with a little bit of color thrown in. And some of the British locomotives, and I'm sure in other places in the world, they put a lot more color into them. That being said, I do agree with the age-old, America's awfully big to turn around and have people out there every 50 miles cleaning these trains. England, I think they could get away with keeping a cleaner locomotive, being on an island, and I don't think they had anywhere near the length of runs, let's be honest. So those trains probably got a little less abuse and just dirt covered. Our trains out in the old west, they black was good because everything was filthy all the time, I'm sure. When they were expanding west, I can't imagine they were all too concerned with train wash stations along the way. So it'll be good to see it'll be good to see some more colorful locomotives added to the game at any rate. Definitely looking forward to that, and some different types of locomotives too. Boy, we left that back there a little ways, but then again too, there were 10 coal cars and 2 locomotives stuffed on this track, so that was taking up a fair bit of space. Still gotta get that Heisler out of here. Should really be parked out by the sawmill, but, or I don't know, not anymore. I suppose now it should probably be parked up by the iron mine. Gotta get out of the way of progress is what it's gotta do. Holding back the show. Good looking locomotive. Something about when they get up around 10 cars, they really start looking good. I mean, this one is 6, and it just looks short. So it doesn't look like it's got quite what we should. I don't think we're going to blow this one up to 10 though, just because I don't want to deal with that many trains or cars up at the refinery, to be honest. It's just too big a headache. Some of the trains I'd like to keep to a little more manageable size, just because, I mean, even doubling, not doubling, but shunting these cars up at the refinery is going to kind of be a pain. Originally, we took on doing it because we were doubling the hill, so we had 2 and 2 with the Porter Type 2, and that was going, but then it's just too much, it's too much time burning on the run from here to the sawmill. We gotta take out another row of trees around here. They're just kind of a pain in the butt when you're coming around that turn. So those are gonna have to go. One of these days we'll have to actually do some stopping along the rails and start doing some cleanup projects that we want to do. We don't tend to try to stop the locomotive when it's just going along. So we got a lot of want to do projects but never really get to them. So maybe one of these days we take the handcart out, or one of the old little ladies in Betty or Betsy and go do some track maintenance with it, or some wilderness maintenance. See, this one's going to come up the hill without ever even stepping on the gas, which that's, you know, what we want right there. Plenty of power to spare in this one. When you're running wood cars that don't pay very good when you drop them off, you just, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, if I'm running what I call a workload, as in it's not going to pay anything or pay good, I just want it to go without a flaw. I don't want to deal with problems. And so the Class 70 is just the choice. That's one thing that'd be cool too. They should put optional flags in there. I would assume some of these locomotives got shipped to other places in the world, not just kept here in America. So people should add some optional flags to go on their locos. If anybody out there can make a note of that. all for flying the Old Glory, but everybody probably, you know, wants to represent. Not just us, I guess. A couple more trees need to go there. They're just kind of in the way. First, we need to actually pull up to the second switch, not just the first. And either way we dump these off, I suppose, whether we back up 2 or we back up 6, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have to break up the train. I don't think we can even get very many unloaded right now, so we are just gonna plan on backing this up and putting it in its new home as the new lumber wagon for the refinery. I have to watch that because that 9% probably would have thrown us right over our bump stop back there. Alright. All brakes. Alright. I think that put us on the bump stop. Hopefully we didn't break and or derail anything back here. I know we've broken the link back here hitting the hitting our bump stop. See, and there we're up on it or in it, however you want to look at it, but it does its job. So there you go. Drop off some more. Hey, go ahead. Drop. There we go. I guess we do have room for one more. Not that we're going to worry about that too much, but so there we go. Class 70. Big Betty 606 replacing the old little Black Betty number 2. And I think we'll call that one an episode. Say thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you can, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free for you, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day. Thanks.